Hey everybody, welcome to Plant-Based News. So in this video, I get the honor of interviewing Keegan Kuhn. Keegan Kuhn is the man behind Cowspiracy and What the Health. These were two massive vegan documentaries over the last couple of years and were huge Netflix hits. The first question I asked him was, what exactly was his role in these films?
Yeah, so I'm co-director, co-producer, co-writer, director of photography. Really, these productions were tiny. It was Kip and myself for the most part, and so I carried an equal weight in a lot of respects, but behind the camera. So I get the anonymity where Kip gets to be the face of it.
Yeah, yeah. Having got into filmmaking and videography a little bit over the last year or two, I've got a huge amount of respect for what you kind of did with those films.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It was definitely evolved in filmmaking skills and in equipment for sure. We shot Cowspiracy on Canon 5Ds, which is a relatively affordable camera. That was our main camera for the entire film, and it got really good results. You can get really good results on a small budget, and we did that film for like next to nothing. And we had a little bit more money to do What the Health, and so we stepped up in our gear. And then I think really just approaching filmmaking as an art form. A lot of people get into documentary filmmaking because they have a story they want to tell, and they're motivated by advocacy. But I think we really have to take the time to learn the skill to be able to make presentable films. And so I've really dedicated myself to learning the art form and learning every aspect of it I can, so that we can produce the best quality films possible.
Mm-hmm. What I find interesting about you is that you're a self-taught filmmaker. Talk to me about when that passion first started.
Yeah, so I have no formal training as a filmmaker. I never even went to high school. I dropped out of school when I was 12 years old, in 6th grade. Grew up skateboarding, making skate videos, and that kind of evolved into doing films that had more of an impact. So I did my first short documentary when I was 17 about a peace protest that would happen every week in the town that I lived in. And then that evolved again into doing more work for the environment and animal rights groups. So I was doing short videos and short films for nonprofits that were promoting issues that I cared about, and that grew into doing short films, into doing feature lengths, and then ultimately to doing these 2 feature lengths with Kip.
So how did that lead to making Cowspiracy?
Yeah, so I was making short films, short videos, fundraising videos for animal rights groups, and I did a short film called Turlock, which was about the largest farm animal rescue in California history, second largest in U.S. history, which 50,000 egg-laying hens that were abandoned in a battery farm, egg farm, without food for over 2 weeks. And it was about this animal rights group, Animal Place, that stepped in to try and save as many as possible. So I did this short film. A year later, I thought, on the year anniversary, I want to make this into something more, tell a bigger story. And then I did a feature length from it. And right after finishing that, I actually got in touch with Kip. I'd heard that he was trying to make this documentary about the environmental movement and the impacts of animal agriculture. And we teamed up, and from the time we met to finishing Cowspiracy was 10 months. We basically met, figured it out, and started shooting right away, which was pretty phenomenal. To shoot a feature-length film in 10 months, under a year, and edit and get it done is phenomenal. But that was just because we were so dedicated and felt the urgency of getting it done as quick as possible. Mm-hmm. From the success of that, we launched right into doing What the Health. We basically didn't take any time off because we had to go straight into the next production. And What the Health took a bit longer. It was about 2 years to do, but it was equally as intense.
Were you expecting them to get the reception they got? Or, let's talk firstly about Cowspiracy, right? It took 10 months to make, and then did you expect Leonardo DiCaprio to come on board? Did you expect everyone has seen it, every environmentalist I know has seen that film now?
Yeah, the response was totally unexpected, at least from my part. I can't speak for Kip, but I did not expect it to be such a huge success as far as its reach and how many people it impacted. I thought that definitely the vegan community would probably embrace it, but to go so much further than that, and then to have Leonardo DiCaprio come on as executive producer was unbelievable. You couldn't really ask for a better, more credentialed person to be involved with your film. He brings with his own legitimacy of his own career, but also the fact that he's a true environmentalist. He really does care about the planet. It's not just something he's attached himself to, it's what he believes in. And so that was amazing, and of course the legitimacy that lends to the film as well, because it's it's an independent film. It's Cowspiracy, it's a conspiratorial film. It could be very easily brushed aside as just some sort of conspiracy theory idea, but the truth is that it's a science-based film. It's based. It's backed up by all the studies. And then when DiCaprio came on board, we spent actually a year re-editing the film, making sure it was as tight as possible, because if he's associating his name to it, it had to be bulletproof. And so the film that was released on Netflix is absolutely bulletproof. It is an extremely strong science-based film. And again, with his help, that's why that film has become so powerful.
How did you get him on board? Did he? I presume he reached out to you, right? And then what happened?
So it was pretty amazing. I was driving over to Kip's house actually, and I got a call from this guy, and he said, "Hi, my name's so and so. I'm an assistant to Jennifer Davidson and Leonardo DiCaprio. He heard about your film and he'd love to get a screener. Could you send us one?" And I said, yeah, sure. And just kind of laughed it off. And I got to Kip's house. I'm like, man, I just got this call with this guy pretending to be associated with Leonardo DiCaprio and wants a screener. And so we try to look the guy up, and there's no information about him. I'm like, well, whatever. Like, we'll send him a screener. Like, good for him for coming up with some crazy story. So we sent it to him, and then a week later, I get a call. I'm about to go into actually a circus protest, and I get this call, and this woman, Jennifer Davidson, who's Leonardo DiCaprio's right-hand woman. She's one of his producers on a number of his films. She says, "Hi, my name's Jennifer Davidson, and DiCaprio saw your film, absolutely loves it. He's actually obsessed with it. It's all he's talking about. And he called up the heads of Netflix himself, which he would never do. He'd have someone else do. And he said, you guys have to take on this film. I'm going to be executive producer of it. The world needs to see this movie." This is all before he talked to us, which was, again, just incredible. But from the time of that call, it was a full year before the film went up on Netflix, because we had to go through this whole process of re-editing the film, making sure that it was all backed up. And in the course of that year, the film had, sadly, the situation had gotten worse. In the environmental situation, the impacts of animal agriculture had just gotten worse. And so the updated version that went up on Netflix, executive produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, is this bulletproof, super strong, powerful film. And his name associated with it has lended tremendous legitimacy to the film.
Do you think it's opened lots of doors for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Having DiCaprio associated with the film has opened tons of doors. It's made the film more accessible too. I think that it's easy to discredit a film called Cowspiracy. It could be a conspiratorial film that, conspiracy theory. But with Leonardo DiCaprio associated with it, it definitely is legitimate. And so people who never would have watched the film will watch the film now, and that's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like even myself, when I try and market the film and when I want people to watch it, I always just name drop. And it's quite superficial and shallow that I have to do that. But that's just the time we live in, right? To get people to watch things like that.
Yeah, but we are in this amazing age with so much content, so many films. It's so easy, relatively speaking, to produce a documentary now and to get your work distributed independently. And so when you can associate a A-list celebrity like Leonardo DiCaprio, who's also an environmentalist, that definitely it's a stamp of approval. Say, hey, this is actually quality. This is worth your time to watch. So, yeah, using his name is great, and that's why he associated his name with it. He knew that that's what it would lend, and I'm incredibly thankful for him for that.
Do you think you'll ever meet him?
Yeah, it's funny. We were supposed to have a meeting with Leonardo DiCaprio. Because of his schedules and our schedules, it never worked out. We had a phone call with him, and
must have been your schedule, man.
Yeah, right. But it was, yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, he definitely put himself out on a limb by associating with this film. I mean, the previous film that he had done with Netflix was Virunga, which is incredible, just unbelievably well done documentary, and then to associate with Cowspiracy, which I wouldn't even put in the same league as that, but in his mind, he thought it was on par, which was phenomenal. So, yeah, again, I'll forever feel indebted for him for all his support. If you enjoyed the segment and want to watch the full 30-minute interview with Keegan Kuhn, it'll be on our new PBN Insiders page, which I'll link down below. Hopefully, see you over there.